a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love.
It's the superficiality of GLP-1s. We have not done an episode on this yet, but we'll just give a little teaser on this. What is your stance on that?
I mean, I think that any medication like this can certainly be abused. And I don't think it's a medication that should be used if you're just trying to lose, 5 pounds before a high school reunion,
right.
or which is what they were discussing in the show, that these middle-aged moms were
The crop tops.
Were going to Pilates and they needed to lose that last 5 pounds so they could have their six-pack abs. Because the medication does have potential side effects. There are certain risks that are associated with the medication, and so you definitely have to weigh the benefits with the risks and see if it's worth it.
Right. And so your stance is do not take it for superficiality reasons is what you're saying here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really hard sometimes to tease that out, because sometimes people feel bad about themselves when they are obese, and so they do, some of it is they want to look better, they want to feel better, they want to look better, and they want to fit into society.
Yeah.
So I think that there's always part of that underlying theme when you take these medications. It's not just, I'm sure people aren't just wanting to be on the medication because it potentially decreases their cholesterol numbers,
right.
or
inflammation.
Sometimes that's not the motivation. Sometimes it is more superficial. I'm not saying it's like that for everyone, but I think that if you're strictly using it when you are a normal weight and you don't have the associated risks, and you aren't kind of technically taking it away from someone who might really need it, I'm not a proponent of that. I think if you just have a few pounds to lose, it's not a reason to be on an injectable medication.
Right. And so what would be your threshold for folks that, I guess, what is the danger zone of, and let's just put a number to it.
So I think if
20
someone,
pounds.
I wouldn't say specific numbers, because we've talked about in prior episodes, there's what they call skinny fat too, where people have a normal BMI, but they are metabolically unhealthy.
Right.
And so potentially they might benefit from the medication. I think it's for PCOS, for example. I think
right.
some people with PCOS, with insulin resistance, they have a really hard time just with lifestyle alone. It takes a lot of work.
It does.
And sometimes even with a lot of work, you barely see things move. And so I think it's, if you have certain comorbidities like insulin resistance or PCOS or high cholesterol or sleep apnea, and a lot of these typically do go hand in hand with a BMI above a certain level. But I think even if you have a slightly lower BMI, but you have other reasons that you would benefit from this medication, then it's reasonable to take. But you also are risking, say if someone has a BMI of 22 or 21, which is a perfectly normal, healthy BMI, but they're trying to take the medication because they still want to lose weight because they're still unhappy with their body, that is potentially risking side effects when you already have a normal BMI. And the potential, if you're losing more weight, you're typically wasting muscle, you're typically losing
right.
muscle, which has a negative impact on your health. And so I think it's a slippery slope that people should not be taking it for that reason.
For sure. And so I know there's a lot there. So the few words you said, I just want to define for our audience here. Comorbidities. Comorbidities. It's just ailments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
other health issues.
So if you got stuck on that word, you're listening to us, that this is why I'm here. This is why we have this podcast, because she defines her industry and I'm like, third grade. I don't know, So there you go. So that, but also just to kind of summarize that, and the reason why, I'm approaching it from a layman's, I don't know. So when I put a number out there, that was probably ignorant for me to say. And you broke that down very beautifully, I think, because you talked about the BMI, and also there's a lot of mental health issues, like you said, as it relates. And that's the whole theme of this episode, which we'll talk about. Flash bonus at the end. All right. So Emily's a no on superficial purposes, with the understanding that with the BMI and all that.
Yeah, I think it should be a decision made ultimately for health and not for the superficiality, for the cosmetic reasons.
Gotcha.
If you're on it, there should be some health benefit that you're getting from it.
Exactly. So that way you're not taking away.
Well, and I think it's more just you're not putting yourself at risk, because I think eventually maybe more people will have access to these medications. And so I don't think it should be thought of as taking the medication away from someone else who needs it, which I know there's a lot of controversy there. But I think it just, what are you putting into your body and why, and making sure that it's a smart decision. And there's if you're one of those people, I think these medications can be used very safely and don't necessarily cause side effects for everyone. But I'm just saying there's always that potential risk for something bad to happen if you're taking a medication or you're going to surgery. And so make sure that it's going to benefit you.
Exactly. And bonus tip, guys, the reason why I know this is because we did an episode on this. You need to do it under supervision. That is very, very important. That could save your life. Do it with supervision. Someone like an Emily, someone like one of these, like your doctor, so with supervision, who are specialized in this, so they can help you manage your side effects more. Because, for example, you can take the medication, and I think it was after you eat or something, or right before you eat. I don't remember.
Well, I think so. The medication is so readily available now because you have all of these people with different formulations of it. You have hairdressers selling it, and at different med spas, or getting it on the black market, or getting it online. That if people really want it, they can get access to it.
Right.
But just because you can get access to it doesn't mean that there aren't dangers involved with dosing yourself. And so I think
and if you want to know more about this, guys, we did a whole episode on compound pharmacy and Ozempic. Bootleg Ozempic is what we're calling it. Check it out. It's a must watch if you're interested in this drug and if you want to get it.
With a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love, that's the life that we live. Suits and scrubs.